their phones and hide in plain sight, not to escape the law, but to expose those breaking it.
His car is here.
I'm from BBC Africa Eye. I wanted to have a chat with you.
Go. They are BBC World Service reporters. And this is Global Eye. Watch on BBC iPlayer.
Hello, I'm Ros Atkins. This is BBC News, live from Washington. Venezuela's opposition leader, Maria Corina Machado, has given her Nobel Peace Prize medal to Donald Trump during a meeting at the White House. We'll hear from the family of Irfan Zoltani, the Iranian protester now spared execution by the regime. And European troops are arriving in Greenland as the US continues to say that it wants the territory. Hello, I'm Ros Atkins. Welcome to BBC News. Let's begin in Washington because the Venezuelan opposition leader, Maria Corina Machado, says she's given her Nobel Peace Prize medal to President Trump. Though we should note that the Nobel Institute says
February average rainfall, and it's a similar story in Northern Ireland's Catesbridge. The reason we've seen all this rain and we're stuck in a rut is due to this blocking area of high pressure in Scandinavia. It stops these weather fronts and these areas of low pressure moving through. But that disappears next week. The low pressures can finally move and we get a different wind direction. Could bring some heavy hail snow, mind you, towards the end of next week. More on that a bit later. Tonight, we've got a lot of cloud around, outbreaks of rain, some fog patches over the Pennines, the East Midlands, northerly winds, bringing colder weather and a return of heavy hail snow across the northern half of the UK towards the end of the week. That's the latest.
Chris, thank you very much. And that is the BBC. The team here have a very good weekend. And now it's time for the latest wherever you are. Good night.
Thanks, Jane. I'm Andrew Sinclair, and you're watching Look East. Hello, first tonight, more on the serial killer Steve Wright, who was told today that he will
Flooding.
I will give away, the vast majority of my money. It's my full-time focus for the rest of my life.
Every time I lost, I just did a deep dive into the reason why we lost.
Und wenn Menschen bei uns in Europa angekommen sind, dann finde ich, haben sie ein Recht darauf, menschlich behandelt zu werden.
When the big names talk, they talk to us.
Live from London, this is BBC News. Another night of protest across Iran despite an internet blackout and growing repression by the authorities. Medics in Iran have also told the BBC that hospitals are overwhelmed with injuries. New footage of the fatal shooting of a woman in Minneapolis, filmed by the US immigration agent who killed her, raises more questions about what exactly happened. The UK government says Elon Musk's platform X could face a ban over its AI tool Grok, creating deepfakes. Some limited power supplies are back in Kyiv after authorities announced an emergency power cut, leading to an almost complete shutdown of running water, heating and public transport in much of Ukraine's capital. Hello, I'm Regina Vaidyanathan and welcome to this hour on BBC News. Medics at 2 hospitals in Iran have told the BBC their facilities have been overwhelmed with patients injured
Hello, I'm Ros Atkins in Washington. This is BBC World News America. Venezuela's opposition leader, Maria Corina Machado, has given her Nobel Peace Prize medal to Donald Trump during a meeting at the White House. European troops are arriving in Greenland as the US continues to say it wants the territory. And the UN is raising concerns over the deadly crackdown on protests in Iran. Welcome to World News America. Over the next hour, we'll bring you the very latest BBC reporting and analysis. And we're going to start here in Washington because the Venezuelan opposition leader, Maria Corina Machado, says she's given her Nobel Peace Prize medal to Donald Trump.
Come to pass, but that doesn't mean it is not a risk we should be thinking about, because it is quite a risk indeed. And actually, Darshini, sometimes the threat alone is enough to spook the market. We're back soon from Salford, but now it's time to join our colleagues with the news wherever you are.
Yes, hello, I'm Eleanor Moritz. Welcome to Northwest Today. The headlines this Monday lunchtime. 2 ministers, including Alex Allinson, are ousted in a reshuffle of the Isle of Man government. Hundreds protest against plans to close a busy motorway junction in Cumbria, saying it'll leave them cut off and kill local business. And new on the menu for Blackpool, free cooking lessons in one of the resort's most deprived areas. Well, 2 government ministers have gone, including long-serving Treasury Minister Alex Allinson, in a political shake-up on the Isle of Man. The island's chief minister
access to phone and internet services. Then it's likely that this storm is likely to also challenge.
So the weather is going to stay pretty unsettled, Clive, with rain and showers never far away.
All right, Chris, thank you. Chris Fawkes there. That's it. Now, it's time for all the news where you are. Have a peaceful night.
Thanks, Clive. Hello, I'm Charlie. Welcome to the programme. Disgraced former Chief Minister Jonathan Latok has been sentenced to 9 years in prison after admitting to the creation of more than 2,000 indecent images.
We're at Davis in Kyiv, where there's no let-up in Ukraine's bitter war with Russia as we enter.
This week on AI Decoded, the rise of AI companions, from chatbots to romantic partners. Are we outsourcing intimacy? What does that say about us as a society? And the backlash. AI is generating sexualized deepfake images without consent. Where does responsibility for that lie?
Did it feel that the X-Files somehow restricted your...
On iPlayer. Now on BBC News, join our AI Decoded team as we unpack, explore, and take a deep dive into the world of artificial intelligence.
She basically described to me living in a very happy, fulfilling relationship that was completely enabled by her AI companion. She left her husband after 20 years, and Colin continues to be her close confidant and supporter throughout this process.
Have any of you asked AI for a New Year's resolution?
No, I didn't. I've seen how the sausage is made, so I'm less keen on getting advice from AI now. I've gone too far down the rabbit hole, and I'm basically a bit off it for the time being. I'm sure I'll come back.
Welcome to AI Decoded. It's now more than 10 years since the director Spike Jonze released a popular sci-fi film called Her. It's a fictional story of a time somewhere in the future when artificial intelligence becomes emotionally intimate. Man falls in love with the voice from his computer. If you've not seen it, first it's called the Just World. You are choosing to go into that place.
In here, I don't think about being a good man. The other, the Lark world.
Yeah, that world is imaginary.
I do feel bad about not being a good man.
Waiting for the out. Press red for all episodes on BBC iPlayer.
At the heart of the Israel-Gaza war, a special report from a hospital in Bethlehem. Global Eye tonight at 7. But now, a new week of Politics Live.
Give me Greenland or I'll launch a trade war. How should the UK respond to President Trump's threats? Hello, I'm Vicky Young and welcome to Politics Live. Joining me today, Labour's Antonia Pants, Shadow Energy Secretary Claire Coutinho and Daily Mail columnist Sarah Vine.
The right way to approach an issue of this seriousness is through calm discussion between allies.
At an emergency press conference, the Prime Minister says he's told the US President his threatened tariffs are wrong, but now is not the time to retaliate. But there's strong language from other world leaders.
There are those that think the power of law should be replaced by the law of power.
And another Conservative MP joins Reform UK. But does the party risk being a home for disaffected Tories?
Our country needs reform, it needs change, and we need to rescue our nation from the calamity of this socialist government.
And we want to hear from you if you have any thoughts on those stories or questions for our to hearing from you. Now, world leaders have been responding to the latest words from Donald Trump over the weekend.
Befreich Jode kan je rietje Ivana Kennert den hiet skolgalig den alda nicht kom sin an leere hietje. Is jo in een erken.
Ha opgoeden, shaku cleofmerken op wa. Sekir star met de kustjene de hude sehina, shuga kanje gain onatorian. Is dat een unieke graag, dat een doel is stippet, zich het afritje, weer een tanker rushen nach hadrasel in je budif, a hartstikke leuk. Aardig, ik ging eet maal met hen zo'softe in de gelddag. Vaak ik a goede dan eigenlijk konjen aan scheer, ik weet echt die kellichen wat steekje, haar gules ne herring, kijk eens haar gules waarij. Kies dan geta, kun je haar.
Als je beter zo'n hospital is zo'n ticket plenen, zo maar door ticket plenen zo'n hospital hoe waarij, en dan voor zo sekeerd plenen zo'n linkje voor een noodboom edigheid.
Ik is ticketje, je is je die een, je zo'n feestje hidie, is nodig. Mij spaartje de programma had je mag. En beheerde EDV kustjen in de Russe China. En ze kraken bijna voorlig dan weer gerichtje. Dan zou je eens de Torien het kan je jano in de Rus wat 3 lijken kunnen doen. Atul, Gaganike, the shape.
So not completely dry. For the rest of the night, the heavy, persistent rain we've had in the east is clearing away. We have got some fog, particularly for Wales, western parts of England.
That's it. Now, time for all the news where you are. Have a peaceful night.
Thanks, Clive, and do stay with us for South Today. Good evening, I'm David Allard. It's the #1 issue bothering drivers here in the south, potholes.
Live from Singapore, this is BBC News. Former UK Cabinet Minister Lord Mandelson has resigned as a member of the Labour Party after documents released by the US government revealed further links to the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. US President Donald Trump says he's hopeful of a deal with Iran, as the country's supreme leader warned that any attack would spark a regional conflict. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has condemned a Russian drone attack that killed at least a dozen mine workers in eastern Ukraine. Music's biggest night is underway in LA with rap artist Kendrick Lamar winning big, becoming the most decorated rap artist in Grammy's history. And coming up on Business Today, markets brace for more volatility this week after a sharp sell-off in gold and silver. You're watching Newsday with me, Steve Blythe. Now, Lord Mandelson has resigned from the Labour Party, saying he does not wish to cause further embarrassment over his links to Jeffrey Epstein. Documents in the latest cache of Epstein files have suggested that the former UK ambassador to the US received Scotland.
It will be a cooler day, temperatures drifting back down to average or even a little bit below. Now, heading into Thursday, we've got another change in our weather patterns, an area of low pressure set to bring extensive rain across England and Wales, but this one we'll also have some strong winds, gales, even severe gales across parts of England. So a blustery day for Thursday with rain. And as you can see through Friday and the weekend, it stays unsettled with rain and showers. But there's certainly no return of that really cold air that we've seen for the first part of January. Clive.
All right, Chris, thank you. Chris Fawkes there. That's it. Now, it's time for all the news where you are. Have a peaceful night.
Homicide is the unlawful killing of a person by another. It includes murder and manslaughter, and rates for it in London have dropped significantly. This is BBC London. Good evening, I'm Assad Ahmed. The Metropolitan Police says the rate of homicides in London has fallen to its lowest level in more than a decade. The number of teenagers killed has also fallen.
Live from Singapore, now on BBC News, Business Today.
The Trump administration authorizes the sale of one of NVIDIA's most powerful chips to China, despite concerns it could undermine US leadership in AI. Trump says inflation has been defeated, but the latest data shows prices have continued to rise at a steady pace. Plus, we look at what's at stake in Apple's unprecedented AI partnership with Google. Hello and welcome to Business Today with me, Steve Blythe. Now, the Trump administration has given the green light to sales of NVIDIA's second most powerful AI chips to China. The new regulation will likely kickstart shipments of the H200, despite concerns among China hawks in Washington that the chips would
snow across parts of northeastern Scotland, still gales blowing across the far north of Scotland there, and still a few more showers could possibly be heavy and thundery across the southwest into central southern England. But look, the skies, well, there's another Met Office yellow weather warning in place as the ground is so saturated, and of course it will take some time for all of that water to drain away. The outlook stays unsettled. There's more as ever on the BBC weather app. Rita.
Elizabeth, thank you very much. That's it from us. Now it's time for the news where you are. Good night.
Thanks, Rita. Hello, you're watching Wales Today. I'm Nick Savini. The headlines. After the biggest shake-up in policing in years, clashes at the Senedd on whether the powers should be devolved. And a woman with no medical qualifications who used false ID to become a healthcare worker escapes jail. Good evening. The First Minister has insisted she is focused on the things she has control over after a fiery day at the Senedd in which she was accused of lacking influence at Westminster. Eluned Morgan faced questions over the calls for policing to be devolved, which have been rejected by the Home Secretary. The First Minister says her priority is the Welsh Government budget, which was approved in a vote tonight. Here's our political editor.
5 days, the wettest areas in the same areas really where we've already seen 2 or 3 times the average rainfall this January, because we've got weather fronts coming back in off the North Sea, snow to relatively low levels, and more showery rain coming to the southwest. In between, we've had stubborn fog today in the Vale of York. That fog becomes more of a widespread issue again tonight into western areas too. The rain hasn't had enough time to filter away, and it looks set to stay unsettled into the weekend. Rita.
Thank you very much, Helen. Well, that is it from us. Now it's time for the news where you are. Good night.
Thank you, Rita. You're watching BBC Spotlight. I'm Alex Green. Another big cleanup is underway across the southwest after Storm Chandra. Last night, a major incident was declared in Somerset where around 50 homes were flooded. Many roads across the region are still closed and remain severely disrupted. To date, we've been back to some of the
agus fáilte go seach lá. An an program becinnas gire in áiriist, versin súlarás cúit de scéalachan na seaaching sa chai. Har bhí le fér a leoas sa